Hello, this is Anna Laura Brown, host of the Autoimmune Rehab Podcast, where we explore ideas, solutions, and helpful hints to help you in your autoimmune healing journey. We strive to transform your health and inspire hope in you so that we can help you with your emotional healing and self-care and some of your physical healing, things like diets, that kind of thing, which, you would find on any kind of podcast on autoimmune wellness. Find all the episodes with show notes at autoimmunerehab.com. And now, without any further delay, let's get started. Hello, ladies, and welcome to this episode of the Autoimmune Rehab Podcast. Today, as you can probably tell from the title, I'm going to be talking about infrared light therapy benefits, the truth of infrared light, and an infrared sauna. And I will tell you that I know that this topic has become popular in the last, I want to say 6 to 12 months or so. I've seen an increase in the number of social media posts, as well as also an increase in the different options that are available to us as consumers for purchasing infrared light therapy machines, as well as infrared saunas. I know it used to be, back when I first started looking into infrared light therapy and infrared saunas, probably, I would say it's been about 4 years ago now since I first started looking into it. You were looking at thousands of dollars, and you had to have a spare room in your house in order to be able to put in an infrared sauna. And even infrared light was something that you basically would have to go to like a chiropractor or a functional medicine doctor or something else to be able to do. There weren't a lot of in-home machines and options. And so a lot more of those have become available to us and have become on the market. And so as a result, infrared light therapy and infrared sauna, which are really two similar but somewhat different things, have become something that is more available to the average everyday consumer without you having to spend a ton of time and money or have an extra room in your house in order to be able to take advantage of it. So what am I going to talk about on this episode? So first, I'm going to address infrared light therapy, and I'm going to talk about what it is, what are the benefits of it, how you can do it, what some of the different options for different devices are for doing it, and how I do it personally and how I found that it has personally helped me. Then I'm going to talk about different kinds of infrared saunas, what an infrared sauna is exactly and how it differs from other kinds of saunas, as well as why you may want to consider one, what to look in for one, and then my own experiences with infrared saunas. Okay, so to start with, I found online, and this is just from, I believe, Medline or just one of those standard websites, just a good definition of what infrared therapy is. So I thought that I would start by reading that. And it says, infrared therapy is a new and innovative light-based method to treat pain and inflammation in various parts of the body. Unlike ultraviolet light, which can damage the skin, infrared light enhances cell regeneration. Infrared light is delivered to the site of the injury or inflammation at certain wavelengths, promoting cell repair. So, infrared light therapy, I basically just gave you a good definition of what it is. But in case, you got lost a little bit in the science or the medical or the technical jumbo, if you will, let me explain in a little bit of more simpler words what it is. So infrared light therapy refers to any machine or device that has infrared lights coming out of it. And usually in most cases, especially if you're dealing with like the at-home machines or devices, it's going to have red lights coming out of it. And there are, other spas and other healthcare treatment centers, things like that will also offer like an infrared light therapy type device. And usually those have red light as the primary form of light that comes out of these devices. So it probably goes without saying as well that any kind of an infrared light therapy device that you buy for at-home use is going to be smaller, and in most cases is going to be designed to target only one part of the body at any specific time. Whereas some of the ones that you can find in a professional setting, you can target the entire body at one time. So the biggest disadvantage to a lot of these at-home ones is, like I said, you are targeting a specific part of the body at any one time. That said, if you're listening to this podcast in this episode, I'm going to assume that you probably have, or at least suspect that you may have some kind of an autoimmune condition, or maybe you had one and you're lucky enough to have gone into remission already and you're just trying to maintain good health. But there probably is at least one, in some cases maybe 2 or 3 primary body parts that you're really trying to target anyway. So I know for me personally, I have Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune disorder of the thyroid. So I'm always trying to target my thyroid and neck area to help reduce the pain and inflammation, help heal the cells in that area, that kind of thing. So personally, I have a couple of different kinds of infrared light therapy devices. So the first device that I have is a smaller version of the professional red light therapy machine. And what happens is it has different lights that you switch on, and they turn from white to black to red when you turn them on. And there are, I'm not looking at the device right now, but probably about 30 or 40 of these small little red lights, and it sets the timer for 10 minutes, and you can only use it for 10 minutes in one setting. And then you have to wear special glasses because you can't look directly at it. And then I just sit in really close proximity to it with it shining right on my neck and thyroid area. And after 10 minutes, I have to be done. Usually I typically do it in the morning, so I could do it in the evening as well, but it's not like I can do the 10 minutes and wait only, 10 or 20 minutes and do it again. I forget what the instructions say exactly, but I think you have to wait at least a couple hours before you can go do it again. And then in addition to that, I also have an infrared light lamp, which is actually one of the lamps that also comes as part of an in-home infrared sauna that is sold by the company Sauna Space. And I will link to them in the show notes so that you can have them for reference, because they are a really good place to be able to get some of this infrared light for at home and the infrared saunas from the home. I don't as of yet have an actual infrared sauna in my house. And in a few minutes when I'm through talking about the infrared light therapy, I will address, how I do infrared sauna, since, like I said, I don't as of yet own one. That is a dream, something I would like to do, but I've also decided not to buy one of the more cheaper options and to wait until I have the space and money to buy a more expensive one. So anyhow, back to infrared light therapy. So I have this device, and the biggest benefit and difference that I have noticed from using this infrared light device pretty much every day, occasionally I might skip a day, but I usually use it just about every day, is that before I started doing the infrared light and going to the infrared sauna, that kind of thing, I've been doing the infrared sauna. I first started about 3 years ago. Ish. It was right before COVID, actually, probably about 3 or 4 months before COVID, so I don't know that it's quite been 3 years that I've been doing the infrared sauna. But the infrared light therapy I've been doing pretty much daily for about a year now, is that I would have pain that would just shoot out of my neck and thyroid area. Sometimes it would last for a couple hours, sometimes it would last all day long, and I had different creams, essential oils, different things that I would rub on it to try and get that pain to go away, and sometimes those things would work, but the infrared light has literally made it so that I literally don't ever have that pain anymore as long as I do it every day. So if I do skip a day, I do kind of notice that some of that pain in that area will start to come back. So, I have to be really consistent in doing it. And the main way in which I usually end up having to skip it is when I'm on vacation. So, haven't as of yet figured out a way to be able to do that when I'm on vacation or away from the house, just because this device is not as big as professional devices, but it's big enough and heavy enough that I really can't take it on an airplane. And, generally speaking, when I'm gone for long periods of time, it's because I've flown somewhere, not driven. If I were to drive, then I probably could potentially take it with me. So we'll have to look into that. I have a trip coming up, and I may potentially even try to take it even though I'm going on an airplane. We'll have to see. But anyhow, the gist of that is that I definitely do notice a big difference when I use it. And if I do end up having to skip a day or two, there's definitely a big difference that I notice. And so like I also mentioned, I have this big infrared light lamp. And I actually got that first before I got my infrared light therapy thing. And I used to use that every day. But the biggest challenge with that device, and I will link the information, like I said, in the show notes for all of these devices, is that it shines so much heat, I can only tolerate it for a few minutes. And because of the way it's really large and a little bit heavy, it's a little bit more difficult to maneuver and be able to handle using it. So I really like the infrared light therapy machine that I have a little better, because I'm able to just stand it up, put on the glasses, and the timer starts automatically, and I just sit there. Sometimes I'll listen to music or a podcast or something while I have it running. So anyhow, those are how I use the infrared light therapy machine specifically, and some of the benefits that I have gotten out of them. So now the next thing I want to discuss is the infrared sauna part, and a little bit of an explanation of how an infrared sauna is different from, say, like a dry sauna. So a lot of you have probably gone to, like some of the fancier resorts, spas, swimming pools, maybe even some of the local fitness centers, some of those kinds of things. Sometimes they will have like a dry sauna that you can get in that's really hot, and you just sit in it, and there's like some dry coals, and usually it's large enough for, maybe 6 to 10 people to sit in it. And those can be helpful too, but that's not the same thing as an infrared sauna. So an infrared sauna specifically will have infrared light therapy machines in it. So for example, currently the infrared sauna that I use is one at a local place called Restore. Now, Restore is a national U.S. franchise. I believe it's only U.S. If you live in Canada and are listening to this, you might have to check. And maybe even some places like UK, you might have access to it. But if you don't have Restore, you may have some other kind of a franchise type company that offers different kinds of therapies. And one of the main things that Restore is known for is actually cryotherapy, which I actually have tried that. It just got too cold and I didn't really see the point in it. But they have other things like that. They also have hyperbaric oxygen, which I actually will be featuring in an interview with somebody who owns a hyperbaric oxygen company in a couple weeks, or maybe it might even be, I think maybe even a month or so out. But anyhow, that will be coming, and so, stay tuned and subscribe to this podcast if that's something that you really are interested in, because that should be really interesting. But anyhow, and other different kinds of IVs, different things like that is what they have at Restore. But the main thing that I usually go there for is their infrared sauna, and they have a really nice, high-quality cedar redwood sauna that also has what's called chromotherapy in it, and what that is it has different lights that turn different colors and via basically a lamp that's at the top of the sauna as you are entering in. Oh, and the other thing I also should add as well is that I do have some pictures and some little video snippets of what these different kinds of infrared light therapy devices and what this particular infrared sauna looks like. So I will be putting those pictures and video to accompany both the blog post that you will find that from autoimmunerehab.com. You can go there and search and find blog post. You'll be able to see the pictures and video of what these look like, since, one of the biggest downsides to a podcast is you can't see pictures and video. So we'll have those there. And then if you don't already follow me on Instagram, I will be producing a reel and some pictures and things that will have them as well. My Instagram hashtag is BrownAnnaLaura. So I have my last name first, and then my first name. I'm not sure if that's the case anymore, but back in the day when I went to sign up for Instagram, somebody already had Anna Laura Brown as a tag. So it's actually BrownAnnalaura is my Instagram. You can find me, follow me there, look there, and you'll be able to also see pictures and video there as well. Okay, so anyway, so back to this infrared sauna. So I have done some research. This particular infrared sauna is pretty costly, and you basically would have to have either a really large bathroom, which is an extra space, or even an extra bathroom to be able to put it in, or, some kind of an extra room. It's very high quality. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's around $10,000. So, it's pretty costly, but from my experience with using it, kind of decided that if I was going to buy an infrared sauna, that's probably the kind that I want to get. And so what then are some of the differences and benefits from an infrared sauna as opposed to infrared light? So infrared light, as I mentioned, targets a specific area of your body at any one time for, inflammation reducing, healing, helping with cell repair, that kind of thing. And I also should add, which I kind of forgot to mention back when I was talking about the infrared light therapy benefits, there also are infrared type wraps that you can get as well to help reduce pain. So I had knee surgery back in March and have been struggling with knee pain for, a while now, and it's definitely gotten quite a bit better, but I have an infrared knee wrap that I bought on Amazon that works really good, and there's other ones for other parts of your body, like your back and different things like that. So if you have, ongoing, I would say even chronic pain in a specific area like your knee or back, then looking into an infrared light therapy wrap may potentially help as well. But anyhow, okay, so back to the saunas. So the biggest thing is that an infrared sauna, what happens is when you sit in it, and At Restore, you can sit in it for up to an hour. Personally, I've never been able to do that. It just gets too hot and sweaty, and I start getting too much sweat all over my body, and I just can't tolerate it for a whole hour. So I'm usually only in there for about 30 to 40 minutes. And if I owned my own sauna, the biggest advantage would being able to do it for a little bit of shorter time frame for longer. So I probably would do it more like 20 minutes or so, 2 or 3 times a week if I actually owned my own. Right now, because I don't own my own, and that's definitely, like I said, a dream to have my own. But I do have my own infrared light therapy lamp and therapy devices that I use in between. I currently only go about once every 2 weeks, and I sit in it for about 30 to 40 minutes, like I said. So the biggest advantage to that one is that you get your body temperature rises so much, and it targets your entire body, that it's really good for a lot of detoxing, because one of the methods by which you can detox chemicals and things out of your body is through your sweat. So it really makes you sweat a lot, and they actually have a shower there in the room, and you shower afterwards. And even if I had one at home, I'd probably have to quickly shower after as well. And can also be good for weight loss for some people. Personally, I've never really experienced any weight loss because of the infrared sauna, but I have read some articles online that say that other people sometimes do lose weight. And it also can help with your immunity and your immune function. So, when I started using infrared sauna, I was still getting pretty consistently sick with some kind of a pretty bad cold, infection, virus, something like that, about twice a year. The first year that I used one, I actually don't think I even got sick at all that year. Now, that said, I did get sick. I have gotten sick a few times, and actually not the last time, but back in July, the day that I used it was actually the day I came down with COVID. And I had actually been to that place 2 weeks before and done it. It'd been pretty consistent, but, that didn't stop me from still getting COVID. So, it doesn't mean you're not going to have infections and get sick. And it was actually a pretty bad case of COVID as well. I actually was sick for pretty much a full 2 weeks, and then still didn't have energy for 3, and now we're going on 2 months, and I'm still occasionally will have higher coughing spells than I would like. So anyhow, that all to say that I do believe that it can help with your immune system, and it can make it so that you will get sick less frequently. And so that's what I do, is I just go and sit in it. And this particular infrared sauna is a single person one, and because it's obviously being used commercially, they don't let more than one person in it at one time. And if you can't find a Restore in your area, they do have a similar sauna that a lot of massage places, spas, other things like that can be used. And if you can't afford a big one or can't find a big one, there are a couple of other options that you can also do. There are smaller units as well that you can get, things like an infrared sauna blanket where you lie down and it puts, the sweat and detox and things all over your body from lying down in the blanket. There also are little ones that you can get a chair and sit inside it. Sauna Space, which I mentioned this already before, that sells the infrared sauna lamp that I have, has an in-home sauna with a tent with multiple different infrared lamps that you can create your own at-home infrared sauna. And as far as quality goes, that one is about, I believe, I'd have to double check on pricing, updated pricing, but between $4,000 to $6,000 depending on what you get. And it is more, higher quality, and probably the next best step to not having a professional cedar wood sauna. So if at some point, if I never get to the point that I can afford or have the space to put one of those in, I may potentially get one of these tented ones from Sauna Space. That said, some of the sauna blankets, some of the ones that you can sit in, these at-home ones, can be as inexpensive as $500 up to a couple thousand. The problem with a lot of these is that they have a tendency to emit what is called EMFs, which are some pretty harmful electric rays along with the sauna. So in some ways, if it's bad enough, that can actually negate any of the positive effects that you might get from the infrared light and the infrared sauna. So, you really want to be really careful. Personally, I caution against anything that's too cheap or, that you're not totally sure about. So that's just, how it goes. And so these are just some of the benefits of the infrared light therapy and infrared sauna. And I would just say, if you've never tried either one, if you have the ability to locate either a Restore or some other kind of doctor's office or spa or massage or something that offers an infrared sauna, and potentially they maybe even have infrared lights as well. I should have added that Restored also has a full body infrared light treatment as well. That's not something I pay for anymore just because I have my own at-home devices, but I have done it in the past before I got my infrared light devices, and I found it to be really helpful. So, like I said, to recap, highly recommend you try it. It has definitely helped with more energy. I feel like I also sleep better probably. I have a stronger immune system. I don't get sick as frequently. And I have significantly less pain in my neck and thyroid area. And I don't get the comments from people that can see that it's swollen in that area as well. So like in the past, I used to go to the dentist and, for my 6-month checkup, and the dentist would be able to see that I was actually swollen in the neck and thyroid area. And it hasn't happened recently. So I definitely think that it's definitely helped improve my autoimmunity and helped improve my health. So, I really can't say any more better things about it. So like I said, stay tuned to check for the pictures and video of the things if you want to see them on autoimmunerehab.com with the podcast episode. Also, go ahead and I'd love to have you join my email list by getting your free copy of my self-care journal where you can track all the different things you're doing to help take care of yourself. And if you have questions or comments about this episode, you'll find in the show notes where you can contact me, or you can also contact me through autoimmunerehab.com as well. Take care. I hope you're all doing well, and I wish you much happiness, health, and wellness on this autoimmune journey.